We just hit 40,000 miles in our second gen Sequoia. I'm gonna tell you guys what it's been like to own so far, if it's been reliable, and if I would still recommend one of these second gen Sequoias as a family car. Let's get right into it. So some quick background, this is a 2021 Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro. We bought this last year pre-owned with about 34,000 miles on the odometer. And as you can see with some of the paint defects, this is by no means a perfect car. And to be frank, the previous owners did a pretty poor job of actually taking care of this thing. But that means we were able to get this for a little bit less on the cost, and I've been able to fix up several items pretty easily. This is one thing that I love about this generation of Sequoia is that opens up all the way, which means accessing the front end is a lot easier compared to other cars. Now, other than needing a detail under the hood, the engine has been dead reliable, and that's to be expected. These engines have been proven to be extremely reliable, and we're doing oil changes every 5,000 miles, so that should keep us on the road for a very long time. This truck did come from East Texas, and like I said, the previous owners didn't do a great job of taking care of it, so there was quite a bit of corrosion with the battery. This was parked outside for quite extensive amount of time. We had to get one of the terminals replaced, the other one was cleaned up. Other than that, our first maintenance schedule with this car at 40,000 miles was really solid, and it's pretty inexpensive to maintain Toyotas. A lot of Toyota dealers will offer oil change, tire rotation packages. That means that you only spend maybe 100, 200 bucks per year. And I guess I should mention the whole battery thing was a little bit more expensive than I think it was like an extra $150, something like that. I can't remember, I'd have to go look at the service receipt. And before I move on to the next items, because this car is so easy to work on, a lot of stuff like that battery terminal, if you've got more time than me, you could do yourself. Now, this car did sustain some front end damage from the previous owner. This is not perfect. We had some touch-up paint put here, and this whole thing is actually warped, and I think that was because it was left outside for such a long time. But again, it's just aesthetic. And so for us, although the front end doesn't look perfect because of the slight warping and slight miscoloration, we don't care because this is a car that we plan on taking up to 200,000-300,000 miles and beating it up, again, as a family daily driver. The thing that I actually haven't been so fond of is the stock tires on this. They are all-terrain tires. They are not very good off-road, but on-road, they are smooth and they are quiet. But with that being said, I am planning on changing out these tires in the very near future. So I guess if you're looking for a set of Michelin LTX AT2s, then, well, these ones will be available soon. Now, my wife has really enjoyed these side steps that this has. It helps with getting the kids in and out. And they're this really grippy material, and so you don't have to worry about slipping. Now, something else that's been a nice feature is the power sliding rear window. Just like a 4Runner, the window opens up like this, which means you can easily throw cargo into the back of the Sequoia. The new Sequoia doesn't offer a power window. It's manual now, and so this one feels a bit fancier compared to the new one. Now, just a fair warning, the car is messy. Again, this is a family car, so yeah, 2 kids and use it to take around other people, it's gonna get messy. But anywho, having a flat loading floor that the new Sequoia doesn't have is so cool. It is so much more useful. It's easy to throw people in the back if we need to use the third row, but it's also great for storage, as you can see. I mean, you guys can see this stuff is kind of haphazardly thrown back here, and there's still tons of space, whereas the new Sequoia, you've got to really think about where you put stuff because you don't have a lot of space. Something else that's really nice about this previous gen Sequoia is the fact that it's got lots of plastic and just easy to clean surfaces. This is the side our toddler uses. You can see there's a little milk stain and everything there. Again, kids are messy, but this is super easy to wipe down. Like literally, you just take a wet cloth, wipe it down, and then it looks brand new. And the same thing for the seats. They're not perforated at all, and so like all this stuff here is super easy to wipe down, which is something that a lot of these new SUVs just don't have anymore because they use materials that stain so easily. And this car needs a detail desperately. Anyways, my wife and I love all the physical buttons that this comes with, and the fact that it's got a tiny screen. The new stuff, everything is a screen, is gigantic. This is so nice to not have so much screen. And the gauge cluster too is mostly analog. Like, I really wish that car makers would go back to this. One thing that I wish Toyota would stop doing is putting sunroofs in all their loaded up cars, because my wife and I never use it, and it's probably gonna leak in the future, and so it would be nice to be able to not have that. I do want to mention, with the car seats in, I have tons of legroom up front, and you can see we actually have some room to spare too. Now, something that we had trouble with initially was the drive line, so it wasn't going into four-wheel drive at a normal enough rate. But now, I mean, I just put that in, and you can see that, boom, it's in four-wheel drive. All that I had to do was just use it more often. I don't think the previous owners ever put it in four-wheel drive high or four-wheel drive low. And so as I've been getting in the car, putting it in four-wheel drive high, and then, you know, taking on some dirt roads, putting it in four-wheel drive low, the system's been reacting a lot quicker and functioning as it should. Now, something that might not be super appealing to a lot of you is the fuel economy. You can see we've been averaging a little bit over 15 miles per gallon. Now, this generation of Toyota can have some rust issues, so make sure to get underneath one before you end up purchasing it. This one is not absolutely perfect. You can see there's little spots, but for being an East Texas car, not too bad. And now that we're in Utah, this stuff shouldn't expand. I mean, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on it, but Utah's a very dry state, so we should be good into the near future. So let's take this out and I'll let you guys know if I still recommend this. Now, I do want to quickly talk about the driving dynamics of this generation of Sequoia because it is more old school. So this isn't as big as the new full-size SUVs and even smaller than the new Sequoia. It's about 205 inches in total length. Just to give you an idea of the size comparison, the new Sequoia is about 209, 210 inches. The new Lexus LX 700H, which is, right, the Lexus Land Cruiser, is 200 inches. So this is in between the new Sequoia and the new Land Cruiser in terms of sizing. Now, I don't think they increased the wheelbase because I'm pretty sure the wheelbase on this is 122 inches and I think on the new Sequoia it's 122 as well. But yeah, it rides really well. It drives smaller than the new Sequoia, which is nice. It doesn't handle better. The new Sequoia actually handles a bit better, but just because it's a smaller vehicle, you do feel that it drives a little bit smaller. The steering has a little bit of on-center deadness, as you can see. I don't mind it. It's something that you get used to very quickly. But yeah, if you're used to brand new cars with their super direct electronic racks, this is going to feel a little bit weird initially. But like I said, I get used to it very quickly. The ride's really comfortable. These Fox shocks are great. We go over bumpy, beat up roads all the time, and this car does such a good job. And that's why we went with the TRD Pro versus other options, is because of where we live, where we have to go over roads that aren't necessarily the most well maintained. Like here, for example, the water table is really high, and so the road, like this wasn't paved too long ago if I remember right, but yeah, the road's gonna get cracks and it's gonna move and all this kind of stuff, and so the suspension will be put to work, but it can handle it quite well. For road trips, it's great. It gets like mid 300s for the fuel range, so you do have to fill up like decently often, but it's not that bad, again, for a full-size SUV. And the comfort and the noise insulation, it's not as well insulated as a 200 series Land Cruiser, but it's really well insulated. And I do want to bring up the 200 series Land Cruiser because we also own one of those. And what I'll say is, if you don't need, I mean, the 200 series you can get with the third row. If you're not going to use the third row on a regular basis and you don't have a need for car seats, the 200 series is objectively like a better built, better driving car. Like the steering's better. I prefer the full-time four-wheel drive system. It's quieter, it's more comfortable. Like, it's just better in every single way compared to the Sequoia here. So there's my 2 cents on that. The Sequoia, although technically an inferior car, it's got more space, and that's why we love it. It's more space, and then also it's more affordable, right? That's another thing, is it's quite a bit more affordable than 200 series. You're probably gonna, on average, you're probably gonna spend about $25,000 more on a 200 series compared to this generation of Sequoia. So would I still recommend it? Yes. Considering what full-size SUVs have turned into, again, as someone who reviews cars for a living, I think that for a family, this makes way more sense than any of the new stuff. Chevy has a ton of issues with their engines. Yeah, they're apparently fixing it, but they also have a bunch of electrical problems. Chevys and Ford and everyone else in Jeep, they're all putting way too much tech into their full-size SUVs. I get that it's cool that like the kids can watch TVs and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, I try not to give parenting advice because, right, I only have a 2.5-year-old and then a 5-month-old. But what I will say is our kids are really well behaved and they do not have any tablets. Like, that is not allowed in our house. We don't have a TV. We have no tablets. We have a projector for our kids, and when we go on road trips, it's like, okay, look out the window and have some fun playing, you know what I mean? Like, we do things kind of the old school way, and that this vehicle allows for that very easily. And so a lot of the tech that's in the new stuff, like, yeah, I guess if you want one of those like tablet kids that ends up not being able to even like walk up a flight of stairs because they're so physically weak, like, I don't know if that's real, but I was reading an article about that the other day and I was like, goodness gracious. The point that I'm trying to make is this has everything you need and nothing you don't. The only thing that I would add to this is air-conditioned seats. It doesn't have them. But I also don't want air-conditioned seats because perforated seats are harder to clean. It's another thing to break. And if you get window tint like we have window tint on this, the AC keeps you cool enough. So it's no problem whatsoever. Like, it's 90 degrees. I have the temperature set to 74 and I feel fine. So in summary, yes, I would recommend this. I think this is actually a better family car than anything you can get brand new. And I've talked to enough people, and in my experience with owning this so far, I think that they're right that you could easily get 300,000 miles out of one of these. So if your kids are the same age as mine or a little bit older, 300,000 miles should be enough to get you to the point where they will be grown up and moved out of the house, hopefully, unless they're a tablet kid, and maybe they'll never move out of the house, sadly. But it'll hopefully get the kids to that point where they'll be gone, and then you just get rid of the vehicle, and then you get something, you downsize, right? Like, if you no longer need to take the kids around, then you downsize. And that's what my wife and I are planning on doing. Like, we're planning on keeping this until our kids are grown up and moved out, and then once we don't need a big SUV, then we'll drive a smaller vehicle. And so I think while you can still get these in good condition, low mileage, go and get one. Save yourself $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over a brand new full-size SUV and get something that's far more reliable, that meets all your needs, that has more than enough space. That's my 2 cents. I'll be back with another review at, let's go at 50,000 miles.